Hello, Gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Let's play chess. We're studying a game I finished earlier today against an opponent. I played my opponent 5 times, and he emerged stronger with a 3-2 score. I had 2, he had 3, and this was the game that I won, with the other point of mine coming from 2 different draws. So let's take a look. 4 knights opening. I went more timid this time. I had played this opening already twice against this opponent. The other 2 times I played bishop to b4. Try to injure white's pawn structure. There are other moves. Bishop e7, like in this game, is fine, and bishop c5 is fine. Bishop c5 might be the most popular, but the other 2 are not to be discounted. My opponent went for the center, and strongly and immediately, so I met him where he was by capturing on d4. The knight goes there, and my opponent's point is, so I castle and he castles. If I play bishop c5, I'm just in an inferior line to if I had played bishop c5 here, right? Rather, here. This bishop c5 gets there and gets there at once. If I am to play bishop c5 now, I've wasted a tempo. I think so I castles. I'm understanding that, and I'm understanding this is a concession for black. If I play bishop c5 anyway, it's definitely a concession. There's definitely an inferior line for black to the other one, but we're still hanging on to hopes for an active and strong game. We have 2 pieces against the knight who's being protected by only his queen. We have our knights active and out. King's castled. The bishop is not out of the game in any weird way. If I will take a move and then another move. Black is by no means out of this game. So I made the concession, and yeah, the computer likes this idea. Likes this as white has an edge, a slight edge here. Black chose to trade off the knights. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's a fine move. Now here, I think this move, bishop d3, is a little bit weird. You have this magnificent bishop on c4. He's cutting towards black's king. Alright? You can back him up with a pawn if you need to. You can protect him with a queen if you need to. But no one's here to say that that's even necessary quite yet. To play back to this d3 position where you have other, and I feel like better options, isn't the thing. Not only that, but look at this pin. White's dark squared bishop plays to g5, and this pin, it has this beautiful pin against the knight at f6. It will cause to break this pin is either a 2-move step where queen goes to d6 first, and then the knight's free to move, or a maneuver where black has to retreat his dark squared bishop to e7, having moved the same bishop now 3 times. I think the best move here is bishop to g5. Of course, we were looking at the wrong page there, so my apologies. But computer likes bishop f4. I'm not all that crazy about bishop to f4. Oh, and that's how it looks like black can just challenge directly, and if there's some sort of now this looks serious, so we'll take this out of the equation then. Out of the idea, but I like bishop g5 that much. I'm interested to see if the computer considers this move strong. If it's like strong and just off the top view. Okay, no, the computer doesn't. Let's see what. It's good. So it's good. It's good enough by computer calculation. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the move bishop to g4. It's a great move. I thought I was felt really strong after having played this move, challenging the queen just directly, staring her down, because the bishop is protected, and then pawn that might, in the back of some players' minds, usually protect against this type of attack, is pinned to his king. So I thought this was a creative way that I utilized the pin on the f2 pawn. I'm not sure about this move by white. Knight to c2, just blocking the attack, creates a whole nother pin that doesn't need to be where it is. And now would be the time to admit that bishop d3 was not the greatest, and play bishop to e2, or just step out of it. Queen to e1. Just kind of, it's not elegant, and both sides have made concessions now. But I still think it might be the best move, and I see now that the computer agrees. Queen to e1. Directly step out of it. Right, but knight to e2 introduces some complications for white. Knight h5. As I look now, I don't see the complications right away. I played knight h5, also missing it during the game the correct continuation, which I see here now. Is knight takes e4. After bishop takes e4, queen takes d1, and rook takes d1. I think black just has a good pin on this e2 knight, and the pawn is still the pawn that would break it is still pinned. Let's look at this one. Knight e4, we had rook e1. Yeah, so eventually black wins a bishop that comes to be on e4 with check, and it looks like after on top of that, black has an extra pawn. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm sure it's a fantastic move, puts black ahead by a pawn, but in terms of real-time play and in blitz, that's maybe not quite the level I'm on right now. So I played knight h5, which is billed as a miss for those reasons. Otherwise, it's a great move. I'm putting my minor pieces in place where Carmela can throw water in Tony's face before he admits something, which instead turns out to be good. That he's seeing a shrink. Carmela was convinced it was another extramarital affair. I'm from New Jersey. We all know about the Sopranos television show in New Jersey. But no, more seriously now, back onto chess. I have two minor pieces that are in strong aggressive positions. Even the bishop on c5, this is a strong and aggressive position. It doesn't have to be close. It's a bishop. He doesn't care. Distance is not a big deal to that bishop. But this knight on h5 and bishop on g4, these guys have seriously strong intentions of causing a ruckus on the king's side, on white's king's side. I'm going to change the settings back to, we'll keep it at 3%. It's probably pretty good. And so, like with many things, you make this move queen h4, where she's safe. She is safe here, by the way, guys. G3, and she moves here. Big deal. You make these moves where you have pieces positioned to attack, right? And sometimes the attack invents itself. Right here, a perfectly normal, natural looking, good seeming move of bishop to e3. Now, all of a sudden, you see the meter go black, quite black, that black has a distinct opportunity here. And I found it with bishop takes e3, and after the recapture, we trade off on e2, and then white's king is in check, utilizing the pinned h2 pawn. There's only one legal move on the board, and that allows black to make another stabbing westward shot against white by knight takes f1. And after all is cleared, we've done a lot of work, and we've done a lot of work here as black, and we have 2 extra pawns as a result. Well, not really. I guess we have the same amount of pawns, but we have the better side of the exchange. And this pawn, if I recall correctly, I capture on e4, which is the correct move. So then black is ahead by even more material than that. Alright, so this is kind of how to win with an extra piece, but we'll still go through this. There were some simplifying moves and other moves that I felt made sense within this theme. One of the themes about this has been, I talked about the double pawns on c6. Or did I? Pawn structure. What pawns are weak and what pawns are not? I could do a better lecture on this, I suppose. But before that, there's this Isolani on e3. We just picked up a pawn on e4 that was doubled right in the center of the board in a very debilitating way. These pawns look like they might be easy pickings. They're all, laterally to each other. Black has doubled pawns, but look at this potential pawn structure that can grow out of placing those pawns on the dark squares, where they're out of the reach of white's bishop, and it's very hard for a rook to challenge this sort of structure. So I capture on c2. I have now the exchange and 2 pawns, and it might be just that black is rolling. Another pawn falls, and black's position is winning, not failing, winning. Another pawn falls, and it's a positional collapse. Alright, this is sealing the win, getting the win out of a 1 position instead of a draw. In this position, I see king to f2 and light bulbs flash, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this not actually, but I'm deciding I can get a queen trade out of this, and that is pretty much gonna allow me to roll all the way to victory. So pinning white's queen to her own king in a way that if she initiates the trade, I still recoup the material, and that's it. On the queen side, we notice now that the pawns take up a dark square arrangement here that is extremely well guarded. Queening, my opponent resigns a massive material advantage for black, and so my opponent's resignation. Alright, thank you all for watching. I'm More Gravity. Have a great night.